Yeah, thanks for being there. It is believed that globally, women hold just 24% of senior leadership positions. Even the United States lags behind the global average, which is 21%, compared to China, where women hold 51% of senior leadership slots.
That's very, very, very interesting. I wonder what the indices are saying concerning our present environment here in Nigeria and in Africa. So what is it that has contributed to these lopsided power dynamics of the corporate landscape? Why are women so disadvantaged? While we wait for our guests to help with answers, let's quickly add our voices to some events that made headlines this week. John, I said earlier on that, man, I am really, really, really tired of talking about issues in this country that never gets sorted out.
And I share your sentiments, Helen, because believe it or not, but 2 days ago, I felt like I should just buy a ticket and leave. Because guess what? Election is coming. The thugs and touts and these local government people are all over the place exploiting people.
This is their time.
And I walked right into their trap.
No way.
They exploited me. They extorted money from me. And I mean, I felt so vulnerable.
What did you do?
Nothing.
And then you gave them...
the Isolo bridge, I was going down the bridge and they stopped me and said, Oga, no, don't do that. Oh. And I was wondering, so what have I done? They said that I allowed another car to push me out of my lane. Where is the lane?
And that's a crime.
And that was it. Hey, boy, park. So, all right. I said, look, listen, explain to me what I have done wrong. And they said, no, let him go, blah, blah, blah. Then, okay, my name has been taken. They'll have to check if I've been held for any offense in the past. I have to go with them to their office. He has to drink water, or I have to give him money for ice water. So, and they tricked me into their premises.
Okay.
I then saw somebody who looked reasonable and went to him and said, listen, I don't know what's going on here. He was even worse.
And when you say their premises, is it an official establishment?
Oh, yes, and these touts were all over the place.
When
I left the place, I did something which I normally wouldn't do. I cursed.
Okay, John.
And I cursed, and I kept cursing them. Because, Helen, let's go on.
It happened to me some time ago, too.
Let's go.
And that's why I said, you know, it's... I think we just keep crying over spilled water. ASU is still on strike. Our boys and girls from the universities are still at home. So when you're talking about crime and you're talking about anger and agitations, this is the time for it. And all over the news, I don't know how true it is, PVCs were found at some point, you know, loads of them in soccerways. PVCs with people's photograph and all that. And
we are in a mess. If I was younger, I would have left this country 2 days ago. Helen.
Okay.
Let's move
As
on.
if it's that easy. You need a visa.
Well, you're still
you need a visa, you need money to get your ticket and all of that.
Look for it.
Okay, God will help us.
PlusTvAfrica channel 48 DSTV and 308 on Star Times. The program is Today with John and Helen. It's a full house. As usual, we'll go to the gym. And of course, Pharaoh will be on the lifestyle segment as usual, like I said.
Yeah, and today Pharaoh is having a very, very interesting conversation with a very interesting guest. So let's get right to it. Remember, our topic is women in leadership, and we have a guest who has the most inspiring career history ever. Man, when I was going through her CV, she had moved on from one establishment to another. And, you know, things that are identifiable with men in the workplace, you know, that very quick transition from one organization to other. And so it's time for us to meet our guest from the humble beginning of a personnel assistant at the Federal Ministry of Works in 1996 to begin a consultant and marketer for Eagle and Consulting in 2006. She's a sought-for player. Our guest was head operations and customer service information technology at Treasures Microfinance and Group, head SME Bank and Business Development in 2008.
I see you had some difficulty reading through that. Well, we are pleased to welcome the Honorable Kate Omolola Banjoko, a Nigerian, Lagos-born, just like me, successful leader, maybe like me,
Okay.
businesswoman and politician, and she's happily married with adult children. Madam, thanks for making time out to be with us on the show.
Your career.
It's my pleasure to be here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your career success story is indeed inspiring and intimidating. We just could not state all of it in your introduction. Please pardon us. Nevertheless, we congratulate you and thank you for joining us today on the show.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
John,
Yeah.
can you take the first shot at her?
Oh, that would be a pleasure. So,
Coming
madam,
from a man.
yes, madam, you're welcome. Now, the topic today is women in leadership. Right away, this suggests that the leadership horizon is in full view and ready to accommodate women. Is that a right assumption?
Well, yes, it is, because the world is actually changing, and you find that for the first time in a very long time, women are taking over cities, taking over corporations, taking over leadership positions that ordinarily wouldn't have been handed over to them. You know, not that it was handed over to them, but they're taking it over. You look at cities like Finland, you look at corporations like GT Bank, you find Fidelity and all that, you find women taking over where ordinarily our society and the societal norms that we have would not have allowed them to get there, if not for the charter, the Beijing Conference Charter. But I mean, yes, we're ready to take over as women.
So the horizon looks good.
Very good.
Okay.
Not just good, but very good.
Okay.
Very good. I like that. All confident, with so much confidence. Now, in terms of readiness and competence, are we ascribing too much of responsibility to women? That's the catchword. Too much responsibility to women. Are we?
Can you take that question again, please?
I said, are we ascribing too much or far more responsibility to women than we should in terms of readiness and competence?
Well, women have always been, we have always been a ready breed. I'll put it like that. Because right from when you're a young girl, the concentration is on the woman to be better. The concentration is not so much as on the men, and as young children, the women are the girls are the ones who are made to clean, clear, wash, cook. They are trained to know how to take care of the men, trained to be able to take care of the family, and then they have to couple that for families that send their children to school. The girl child still has to deal with higher education. Well, most times the boy child just comes home, goes to play football, comes back. If he has to read his book, he'll read. Food is already ready on the table and all that. So we have been prepared. We've been prepared from time immemorial to take up responsibilities that are far beyond our capacity. That in quotes, I'll put it in quotes, that are far beyond our capacity. But the truth is that we are very prepared. Our sense of responsibility is not overrated. Actually, I think it's even underrated. And that is why the world has seen that if we do not continue to tap into the potentials of the strength of a woman, the world will go backwards. There will not be an advancement.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I think we're in the right place.
Okay, I think I should step in now a little harder, because last week I dropped last week I dropped my guards and I allowed the ladies to carry the day. Now, madam, I put it to you that
Yes.
our quest for having more women in leadership positions seems like a tall order. And no doubt, we've had very few of them filling these shoes. Would you agree with me that we are expecting, I'm not sure that women will be able to do it?
You're expecting that women will not be able to do it, or you believe that women will not be able to do it?
Oh.
I am putting it to you that in some quarters, in many quarters, we still have our doubts that women will be able to do it.
You have your doubts that women will be able to do it.
Yes.
That means that do you have a daughter?
I have, as a matter of fact, I have just one child, and she's a girl.
Fantastic. Do you believe that your daughter can excel where men are seated?
I would want to believe so.
Exactly. So if you believe that your daughter, because you have trained her, you have brought her up in such a manner to take on responsibilities regardless of gender, then why not? Why won't women be able to do it?
We're talking
What
generally.
you're looking
We're
at
talking
now,
generally now.
You are looking at competence. You are looking at competence and wondering whether the crop of women that are in authority or in power, are they competent enough to do it? Is that the question?
Yeah, that's the question. And you see, the perspective is this. The perspective is this. A lot of this, a lot of what we see in terms of success from women is a little elitist. If we go down to the grassroots, are women able to? Are they matching up to the, to the level that we're expecting them to? They're still being suppressed.
By all means, and I will give you examples. Now, we're talking about you are trying to put a mark. How would I put it? A tab on women's capacities and capabilities and competences. And I will put it to you, and I will tell you categorically that women, given the opportunity and the right setting, will perform and outperform any man, any day, anywhere, anytime. We have examples. Look at there's an honorable member in Oyo State. Her name is Tolu Lokwesa Dikwe Akonde. She's doing extremely well in Oyo State. Our own senator, Senator Uremi Tinubu. She, at a point, she didn't even want to run for an office anymore. Her constituents had to plead with her because they had never seen that kind of commitment to people, to nation building, to people development, to human capacity development, as much as she was able to give to them.
Yeah.
If you give the right women the right opportunities, they will. See, I heard someone say something. If you give a woman money, she will make you a meal. If you give her a house, she'll give you a home. If you give her trouble, she'll give you double. So it's what you give to a woman that you'll get back.
Okay.
Okay, and you get it back double. I like that. Okay. Recently, our women have been fighting for equity. Not only equality, but also equity. Now, some claim that even that wouldn't come easy. What, in your candid assessment, would be standing in the way of equity and equality in terms of women in leadership positions?
Okay. Equity and equality are two different things. And that's not that is, it is, how would I put it? It is a demand that we shouldn't even be making anymore at this stage. It should be something that it should be part of us. It should be our lifestyle. But our tradition, our culture has not allowed that to fester, has not allowed that to grow. Now, as women, we must develop ourselves to be able to break that barrier of gender equality and equity. We must equip ourselves. We must be able to play in the field with our heads high, not expecting it to drop on our laps. We must have trained ourselves. We must have gotten ourselves involved in what is going on around us. We can't just stand aloof and expect someone to say, okay, because she's a woman, let us just give it to her. just because we need to balance the equation. No, it should be based on merit coupled with the desire to be diverse, merit coupled with the desire to be equitable and to also give balance, to the society.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And that takes you to the next question.
I want to switch. I really must take on honorable. Now let's go cultural a bit. Maybe I may find an opening there. Let's go cultural. At least in this part of the world, culturally, leadership roles for women is frowned at. How much longer would this linger? Because you see, a lot of the suppression, the numbers are not there yet as far as I'm concerned.
How long should it linger?
How long would it linger, or should it linger?
When you say the numbers are not there, can you explain that to me?
Like I said, in the corporate world, we may see women, emerging and making their mark, but I still don't see the lower rung of the ladder, in the hinterland and all of that. I don't know, I may be wrong, because I think women are still being suppressed. Like I said, culturally, it's frowned at that women will want.
It's not the normal.
It's not the normal. No, how can we get around this?
Okay, so a few months ago, there was a march. There were some bills that were sent to the National Assembly for assent. For passage, by the National Assembly, and there it was evident to us that because they had very minimal number of women in the National Assembly, those bills did not see the light of day. Now we took 1,000 more women to go on the streets to make noise about it, to protest, to want to drive in their demands, for the National Assembly to even listen. Not that they have, it was approved, not that they passed the bills, for them to even listen to those bills. That I'm just saying this to confirm what you have said. Culturally, women are still very suppressed, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. Nigeria, because we are here, we know how well it pinches. But our culture has not evolved, where it's a gradual process, but it also has to do with the kind of laws that are pushed out. And it's also dependent on our constitution. With a constitutional change, it will make it easier for women to become more involved, more accepted into other leadership positions. And that is why women like us, and I'm sure many others, are also getting involved in politics to be able to change this concept and get these bills approved, get these bills signed into law, so that women will have more level playing field, and the culture bit will begin to be extinct after a while, because women, the constitution would have been able to support that extinction.
Okay, I'm thinking right now, because good leadership provides service to humanity across board. And I'm wondering, if a woman has all the qualities, that's needed to provide this leadership, which would benefit everybody, why is anybody against that? So assuming that a lady eventually attains leadership position at work, in government or other endeavors, now, don't you think she would be sacrificing too much of her natural role? They tell us that change is inevitable, but we're still, circling this natural role. What is this natural role about? And how does a woman taking on a lot of responsibility as a leader affect this natural role?
Okay, what is this natural role? I think this natural role is what is actually setting us back. What is this natural role? The natural role is that you want women are supposed to be home keepers. Women are supposed to be in the background. Women are supposed to be in the other room. Women are supposed to be in the kitchen. I mean, is that the natural role you're referring to?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. That's what a lot of people are.
That's what I'm speaking to that. That's what I'm saying. You see, that is the ideology that we must begin to change. A woman's place is not in the kitchen. A woman's place is beside her husband. If she's married, a woman's role in society can never be overemphasized, because when men are more interested in their gadgets, men are more interested in mining, women are the ones who are interested in ensuring that the family ties, the family is intact. Women are the ones that are more interested in making sure that policies are made to better the lives of people in homes, the men, the children, the women, the young, the old. Women are more interested in ensuring that those kinds of policies are churned out and executed. But men are more interested in building infrastructure. So that is where the balance comes in. Where the men are interested in infrastructure, the planes, the helicopters. The women want to know whether the roads that you have created are, the people that can go on it are those who are a bit disadvantaged. Do you have wheelchair areas? Those are the things that women will come up with, and therefore make governance balanced.
Okay.
Well, Honorable Kemi Banjoko, now I see...
Kate Banjoko is my name.
I'm sorry. Kate Banjoko. I see how come your CV is, so intimidating. You are not a feminist by any chance, are you?
I don't know what you mean by feminism, but I'm a woman who fights for the cause of women.
Of women. Okay, in some places that would be described as being feminist.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Okay, that was just. I just tried to see if I can rattle you.
For me, women's voices must be heard. We must be seen,
yes.
And our voices are relevant in nation building.
Of course, and I support that. Now,
thank you.
Let me quickly just ask this. There's an assumption that when women get into leadership positions, they are not as flexible or as compromising as their male counterparts. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It will swing both ways. Now, if you have I'm going to use an example now of a WhatsApp group. If you're on a WhatsApp group that has diverse types of people on it, I need you to put two people, a man and a woman as admin. And first, the woman will be stricter. The woman will want to ensure that it is done the way it's supposed to be done. I don't know about the men. The men will just say, let it be, John, leave it. And that's exactly what even happens in homes and families. And that's why there is a balance in homes where you have the man and the woman. Both of us cannot be easygoing at the same time. The children will be spoiled too. So the woman will be strict. The man may be a bit liberal. That is our natural inclination. Now, that is why I say to you, if we're in governance and you have a man, you have a woman, not necessarily working pari passu, but a combination of both, you find that you have better performances.
Okay. Last week we were talking about women being the breadwinners, and we had a female guest. And this week we're looking at women in leadership, and we have a female guest. And John does feel intimidated.
Oh my goodness.
So I understand where he's coming from.
I will laugh in French on his behalf.
I understand where he's coming from.
Goodness.
Okay, guys. All right, so our guest has been Honorable Kate Omolola Banjoko. She's a politician. She's a businesswoman. She has made a huge success, in the corporate world, and we're discussing women in leadership. Now, do you agree that women are great leaders? Do you? How then do we explain the apparent gap between men and women in leadership positions today? Now, this is what we're looking at when we come back from the break. So please stay with us. Our guest is still here, and we have a lot of other areas to explore. Don't go away.
Yes, welcome to the second and final segment of our conversation with Honorable Kate Banjoko, focusing on women in leadership. And I must confess that I've struggled a bit with her. Let's see what will happen this segment.
Okay. Thank you again, Madam. You have done well so far. We hope that we'll be able to put
John in his place.
John, not in your place, just put you at ease a little bit, It's not a battle, okay? So let's take the issue of work-life balance. How are women faring? You're married, happily married, your CV said, with children, and you have rolled through several terrain and positions in various offices in the banking sector, in the oil sector. Now you're in politics. Talk to us about it.
Politics, well, for me, I started off as a counselor because I wanted to know what it felt like at the grassroots. I wanted to know where the shoe pinched the most, because the grassroots is the largest base in any political setting. And if you must understand what politics is and how to deal with people politically, you must be able to understand, from their own standpoint. You can't take it up from what you think it is. You have to be there. You have to be in their midst. You have to live with them. You have to understand how they're thinking. You have to understand the culture. You have to understand how would I put it? You have to understand the rudiments, of politics. You can't just take it from the top and think that, oh, okay, because I'm a woman, it's okay. I can take it from anywhere. No. There, like my pastor would say, there's a science to this thing. An expert in business is a novice in politics.
Okay, yes. So how do you balance this?
Okay, so I have a good support system. My husband is very supportive. My children are. And my family, my extended family members are also very supportive. In fact, when I first mentioned that I was going into politics, it took them, they were shocked that you, with all your private sector exposure. I said, yeah, if you don't get involved, then you can't complain.
Yeah.
If you don't try to be involved, you have no right to complain about who is your governor, your councillor, your chairman, your legislator. You cannot complain if you're not part of the process. So it's better to get involved in the process. And that was how I got the support. My constituents have also been very supportive. They're a fantastic set of people. Of course, you have diverse kinds of people there. But ever since I joined, it's been good because I've had to learn at different points because I have an open mind to learning.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Kate Banjoko, when you made reference to my daughter, you got me there. Because people always say to me that if you want to get to John, go through his daughter. And I must confess
wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, you actually, you got me there. But the good thing is that I'm sure she's watching this program somewhere. And she may just have been inspired from your position. Now, I want you to advise her, what are the likely challenges for women in leadership positions generally?
Okay, I'm going to give you an illustration of an experience I had when I was working in a bank. And I'll tell you. So I had my kids, I was working in operations. I had to leave mile 2 to get to the island very early in the morning, and I had to take my children with me because there was a crash in the office. That means whenever I got home at maybe 11:30 because of traffic, I would take their bath, take care of them, make sure there's food. My husband sometimes my husband would even come and pick us up. So probably would have had dinner before getting home, get ready, wake up at 4 a.m. the next morning and set out on that thing just to make sure that we get to the office on time. Now, most times I will get to the office late, right? I'll get to the office late, and then my operations manager was so upset. One day she said, well, you know what? Don't worry, we don't need your services anymore. and I cried. This is an organization that I put in my best. I mean, I started working there since 1996, and I had my first son in 2000 and the second 2002. This issue started in 2002. Yes, 2002. And then I went to meet my boss. My boss said, and I told someone, the person said, go and meet the MD. At the time, he was tired during your God bless his soul. And I went to meet him. He said, what was the problem? I told him. He said, is that all? I said, yes. He now went to meet my operations manager. He asked her, he said, is she competent? She said, yes. Is she reliable? She said, yes. Is she honest? He said, yes. He asked her all the questions, and she answered in affirmative. He now said, okay, is it because she's not coming to the office early enough? Is that the problem? He said, yes. He now calls me back, and I was invited back into the office. And he said, okay, you know what, go to HR. Tell them what time you are going to be able to resume. And then we will adjust for your sake.
Wow.
What does that tell me? What does that tell anyone?
Yeah.
When you show competence, when you show capacity, when you show capability, sometimes the system will work in your favor.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do unthinkable things just because you want favors or you want to get things done or you want to prove that you can do it. Do your best, be you, and ensure that what you're doing is actually your best. You know, the Holy Book says, do not give service as to man, but give service as to God. So you ask yourself, if God was here, would I be doing what I'm doing now? Otherwise, let me do what is supposed to be done and expected of me. And I think if people had that mindset, a lot of things will change because people will be committed to doing what is right and what is best.
Wow. Wow. All right. While you were narrating that incident, the person who said your services were no longer needed, you were like saying she, right? And the one who said, go to HR and let them just adjust your schedule for you was a man.
Was a he.
Is a he. Okay, so that question is hidden. I won't go there because that's another area that a lot of people... Yes.
Sorry, Helen.
Yes.
Helen.
Yes.
The one who eventually now said I should come, that adjusted my schedule was a she. She was the head of our HR at the time. She called me, she sat me down, she pleaded with me, she told me, you know what? You're one of our best staff in that department.
Okay.
And for that reason, we can't let you go.
Okay.
This was a she.
So two sisters. One naughty, one beautiful.
No, one naughty, one strict, one liberal.
Okay, one liberal. All right, my next question was actually on the parameters for evaluating success for women leaders. But you've talked about a few.
Yeah, competence, capability.
Yes, and all of that. And overall, some of these qualities apply, whether you're female or a man in leadership position. I'm wondering, are some women the reason why we are constantly talking about the dirt or the inability of women who are competent, assuming or being in more leadership position? Over the years, in your experience, have you identified, some factors not too commendable, that could have been responsible for this attitude, towards women that the society does not allow us to get there? Are there some women responsible for this? Are there some traits that some women have exhibited or are exhibiting to keep women out of leadership position?
This is a very good question, and it's a question that is very rhetorical. It's been repeated over and over again. I used to hear when I was growing up, they say the pool had Down syndrome. But growing up and playing in the waters where men play, I realized that men use women against women. Unfortunately, men use women against women most times. The same kind of attitude you find in women, you find in men. There are some men who also just want to pull down their male counterparts, but you don't hear a lot about it. You will hear more of the women because people expect people expect it from women. Men will make sure that they use a woman to destroy another woman because we are also very loyal. We have this loyalty, how would I put it? Loyalty mindset. And we just want to make sure that whoever we like or we love, we want to please. Forgetting the fact that I'm hurting my sister or I'm hurting my brother. Now, women have been able to pull up other women. I know quite a number of women that have been able to bring up other women, okay, that have trained, that have encouraged, that they have also empowered other women. You don't hear a lot about it. But where a woman wants to bring down another woman, that's the one you hear the most, because that's what the men want us to believe. The men want us to believe that they want us to believe that women don't like each other. That's what happens. Because they know that the strength of women together is we will achieve more when we are together than when the men are involved. And so you find that they just do it silently, subtly. You wouldn't know. Look at what happened. I can't remember the situation in America where it was women that fought for the cause of liberation. Women were the ones and that's because they had oneness of purpose. Their voices were together. Their mindsets were together. What they wanted to achieve, they achieved it as a body, not as individuals. And that's what scares the men, in my opinion. And what I have learned is that that's what scares the men. So they always want to use the divide and rule style of leadership to ensure that women don't get to where they're supposed to get to.
Okay.
Well, I really don't know what's going on. I don't know who's putting these topics together. But let's even assume for a moment that you've won the conversation for today. I want to ask you, if we assume that women as leaders are better for the society, would they, by extension, be better as family heads, so they take the roles of the men?
We're not ready to take up the role of any man. We're not taking up your roles. Don't get it twisted.
But we are the natural leaders. We are the natural leaders.
I think that's the fear that men have. Women will not. We are not going to take over your roles as fathers. We are not going to take over your roles as uncles, brothers. We are only going to stand beside you and stand shoulder to shoulder with you and tell you that we can do as much as you can. We are better leaders. We have, like I said it earlier, in a nation where you have 50% women, 50% men, 51%, according to Statistica, you have about 52% of men and then 40, I think 50-50. I think it's 50-50 in Nigeria. And you are in the National Assembly where you make laws that guide a whole nation. Yeah. And you want to have an all-men. What kind of policies do you think will be turned down?
Yeah, the problem we have is that you are not asking us nicely. You are making it sound like you want to take our position. So, all right.
No, we don't.
You go ahead and be the head of the family.
We don't want to take over your position. We can't even take over your position. By reason of creation, we cannot take over your position.
Okay.
We can only support you.
Okay,
we can only stand by you like the Proverbs 31 woman.
Yeah. Okay, as we get ready to wind up, and thank you for your time, today on the show. I want to play the devil's advocate here and hit John harder.
Helen, I don't trust
and hit John harder, Would you say from experience that if more women were given the position to lead, they would do better than men?
In politics?
No, generally, in the corporate world, in politics, they would do better, because if you look at the makeup of the woman,
that's not playing devil's advocate. Okay. That is pushing the cause.
Please answer my question. Do you think that women are likely to make better leaders if allowed?
I couldn't agree better. I couldn't agree more. Women have always been better leaders. Women have always been, from time immemorial. Even from, I would always refer back to the Holy Book. Even during the time of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, women did better. Women stood by him. I mean, women stood where men could not stand. Where men were scared, women were standing tall. It has been from time immemorial. It's not today. If you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, women have, I mean, it says that the woman is the one that gives honor to her husband. If she wasn't doing what was right, if she wasn't being a good leader, how does honor translate to her husband?
Okay.
Honorable Kate Banjoko, well, I think, can we do lunch one of these days so we can level up? Because I think you've run away with victory again.
In Amu Wodofi, right? All right. Would you have a final word, on this subject matter? Peradventure, someone just joined us in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
I would just say that people should begin to appreciate the worth of the woman. Our voices are relevant. Our voices are needed. Our presence and our expertise cannot be overemphasized. And we are part of the nation building. We are not chasing away the men. We are saying, let us stand side by side with you to build a better Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll sleep better now.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We had to stop you. We had to compel you to park somewhere in Abeokuta where you are at the moment for this interview. We are so grateful, and we wish you the very best. I'm sure you're busy doing some politicking out there. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank
you for having me.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, it has been most impactful and informative conversation with Honorable Kate Omolola Banjoko, a woman who has experienced the good, the ugly sides of the boardroom intrigues, and presently she's roughing it out on the political arena with the men in service to her people. Honorable, once again, I doff my hat. Thank you.
Yeah. So, like I said last week, a part of this topic, was handled from the men's point of view. And somehow we're still looking for how to balance the equation.
So maybe we should do a part 2 with a man.
We'll do a part 2 with a man.
Hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, then. Let's keep the momentum as we head to the gym now, where Dolly is always sweating it out, helping us to, get the right... burn some of the fat. And from there, we shall make way for Pharaoh Shonuga, who is the lifetime host. She has another brilliant guest on the show today, and she's looking at another topic, very interesting. I'd like to keep it wrapped up until we meet her. Okay, off we go now to the gym. Dolly, over to you.